Sarah was near tears. She wanted to hold on to Mom, but Mom didn't want her. She saw something cross Mom's face, something she never saw before. It scared her. It was even more hurtful than when Dad would beat her. This was a different pain. This was a pain that lasted much longer than being hit. Hello, welcome to In My Words. The book I am reading from is titled The Monster We Call Dad by D.A. Riles. This book is not intended for young readers. After each reading session, I will briefly give information about a chosen plant. I hope through my words you will gain insight, knowledge, and a deeper appreciation and understanding of this mysterious and intricate world. Though the road may be long and hard, compassion and beauty can be gained through the enjoyment of nature and experiencing its wondrous gifts. Thank you for joining me. Mom worked the afternoon through evening shift and would come home late at night. Dad worked the graveyard shift most of the time. After Dad would go to work, Mom would take time for herself and occasionally her children. When she was in a generous mood, she would go to her hidden stash of candy that she purchased from the grocery store and wake her children from their slumber. It didn't matter if they had school the next day, but what mattered was that she was in a good mood and wanted to spend time with the children she gave birth to. Rarely did Mom awaken Sarah, so when Mom came into the children's room at night, she tried hard not to wake Sarah. Mom didn't want to hassle with her young daughter's clinging. In many ways, Mom was just a child herself. She never learned how to take care of anyone, not even herself. Therefore, to all concerned, she was doing what she thought was right. Sharing candy with her children after midnight when Dad was away at work seemed like the right thing to do. One night after Dad left for work, Mom came into her daughter's bedroom to wake both of the sleeping girls. She wanted to share a few bits of candy with them. The dim light from the hallway shadowed the two sleeping children, making them appear as they were one. Many nights Sissy would climb into bed with Sarah. Sarah didn't like sharing her bed. She would even bring a life-size doll to bed with her just to stop Sissy from coming into the bed. Yet when Sarah did this, Sissy would tell Mom or Dad, and they would make Sarah remove the doll so Sissy would have room to sleep. Sarah felt it was very unfair, but there was nothing she could do about it. Leaning over Sarah, Mom was about to touch her daughter's shoulder to see if she wanted to get up and have candy. Only moments ago, she had woken the two older boys and Sissy. Sarah's mind was playing tricks on her. She was dreaming, and in her dreams, she saw her mom calling out to her, reaching for her, wanting to hold her. Sarah complied with this beautiful dream. She stretched her arms out as far as they could possibly go and wrapped her arms tightly about Mom's neck. The dream continued. Sarah leaped into her mom's waiting arms, then wrapped her legs about the thin woman's waist. For a brief moment, Sarah felt safe. Mom was warm and soft, just like Grandma and Grandpa. She missed having them hold her. She missed having anyone hold her the way a child should be held. The dream ended as quickly as it began. Sarah's brain finally registered what Mom's harsh words were saying. "You're too big for that." Mom just didn't seem to understand how to care for children. She didn't know how her actions affected them. No longer dreaming, Sarah was being pried away from her mother. In her dream state, she thought her mom was calling out to her, when in reality, she was just trying to awaken her daughter. Sarah was near tears. She wanted to hold on to Mom, but Mom didn't want her. She saw something cross Mom's face, something she never saw before. It scared her. It was even more hurtful than when Dad would beat her. This was a different pain. This was a pain that lasted much longer than being hit. Chapter 16. Dad? Sarah was turning 4 soon and was quite a handful. She loved to run and play. There were several occasions where she would jump from the top of the refrigerator onto the floor or would climb on top of the disabled old dishwasher. Still impetuous, Sarah wanted to get a glass from the cupboard, which was high above her. She knew that she should ask for help, but she didn't want to bother Dad or Mom. They would always seem to get angry really quick. She thought it was best if she got the dish herself. Deciding to climb on top of the dishwasher, which had a large percolator full of hot coffee on it, Sarah began by standing on her tiptoes. Reaching for the long handle of the washer, she began to pull herself upward. Draping one tiny leg on top of the machine, she pulled herself up. Sarah had grown older, and just a couple of pounds were added to her small frame since the last time she climbed on the dishwasher. The old machine, no longer able to support her weight, began tipping. Although Sarah had done this many times before, she didn't realize that she was getting too big to be climbing on it. Suddenly, the dishwasher gave way with a crash. Then a softer metal and sloshing sound proceeded as it hit the laminate floor. Hearing the crash, Dad jumped off the couch, which was only a few feet away, and ran into the kitchen. A small weeping sound was being emitted from his little daughter. Seeing the child pinned under the dishwasher, Dad swiftly lifted the heavy machine from her tiny body. Hot coffee had spilled on the floor and onto Sarah. Seeing anger reflected in Dad's eyes as she lay on the floor, the young child knew she wasn't supposed to cry. But this hurt so much, and in so many different ways. Her tummy and hands felt as if they were burning. Then there were her legs. They seemed to disappear under the machine. Sarah knew Mom was mad as she watched her enter the kitchen only seconds after Dad. Today's highlighted plant is snow peas. Snow peas are easy to grow. They grow in the early spring, and it is very important to get the seeds into the ground and planted as soon as you can work the soil. They are fine if you put them in the ground when the soil is 45 degrees, for they will definitely sprout and begin to grow. Snow peas can grow up to 3 feet tall, or you can get the bush variety, and they will stay somewhere around a foot to possibly 2 feet tall, depending on where they are planted. The pods are edible as well as the pea, and they are ready to pick as soon as the pod has developed. They can be eaten fresh or cooked. They can be frozen or dried for long-term storage. These are the type of peas that you tend to see in stir-fry dishes, and they are very tasty. Snow peas are very educational for children, and it is fun for them to watch the snow peas grow, for they will grow rapidly. Within 60 days, the child will see an edible pod where they can pick them and enjoy the sweet tastiness of the vegetable, for they are the ones who had put the effort into planting the seed into the ground. Snow peas need full sun, and they definitely require cooler temperatures. When it gets above 75 degrees, they don't like it. The pod and the pea can become bitter. It is still edible, it just won't taste very good. The flowers are edible, the small stems and the shoots of the snow peas are edible. After the plant becomes older, sometime after the 60-day time period, the stems and other parts of the plant become fibrous and bitter, and they are less palatable. The size of the pod can range from 1/2 inch to 4 inches, and as stated earlier, the snow pea does require cooler temperatures, so be sure to get them in your garden early. Please like, share, and subscribe. Next time I will highlight another plant and continue reading. If you would like to follow along with this reading, you may pick up the book titled The Monster We Call Dad by D.A. Riles at Amazon.com. I look forward to having you join me next time.